Hello everyone, hope you all are doing good. In today's video, I'd like to talk about the things that I do not like about the Fujifilm x100v. It's about the things I wish were different in a way for me to love the camera even more. Let's get started. The first thing is the ISO dial. When this feature was first announced that we could change the ISO in a much better way compared to the previous generations, I was pretty thrilled. I wasn't a big fan of how you should change the ISO in the previous X100 cameras, where you had to lift and rotate the ISO dial to change the ISO sensitivity all in one go. In the newer X100 cameras, this process is split up into a couple of steps. You need to first lift the ISO sensitivity dial, then you change the ISO sensitivity and lock it in your desired position. So it's much nicer in theory compared to the previous generations. When I started to use this mode of changing the ISO settings, I realized it was kind of slowing me down. So the first issue is I do not know what ISO setting I am at. I'm just rotating the ISO dial blindly. There is no clicky or tactile feel while changing the ISO dial. None of the muscle memory that I build up using this camera for a while is going to help me determine at what ISO I am at. Also, I'm not a big fan of the font size that they have chosen for the ISO values that are marked on this dial. Sometimes it causes an eye strain. After you've changed your ISO values, you have to push this dial down in order to lock your settings. This is sometimes I think is where my frustration became even more, because in order to push down or set this dial in place, you need to apply pressure uniformly across this dial. Otherwise this dial wouldn't budge down, it wouldn't go down. It's very annoying while you're shooting. I don't know if it's something that is only present on my camera. I've not seen anyone else talk about it, but maybe I have to replace my camera. So other X100V shooters, if you have faced or if you've experienced such an issue, kindly let me know in the comment section below. I would be very interested. So I have done away with changing the ISO this way. So this button or dial has become kind of redundant for me. The only thing that I do is set my ISO to C. I just use my front dial to change my ISO values. I did that by going to the menu and going into the setup page, and then to the button and dial settings, and in the command dial settings I've set my front dial to also change my ISO. The next issue that I have with this X100V camera is the thermal management. I get it, everyone wants to shoot in 4K, so do I. I too want to shoot everything in 4K. That's going to be the future. I think that's going to be like the bare minimum, like what 1080 is today. But thermal management is not so great in this camera. It's such a small body, there is not enough room to dissipate heat. The shooting experience is very unpleasant. It gets warm to the touch. That is not very pleasant to do handheld video using this camera in 4K video mode. Kind of disappointing. I would have loved to have this feature, but maybe the engineers at Fuji should have made the body a little bit bigger. I know this camera is not a small camera. It's already a big chunk of metal. So increasing the size a bit more would have helped, I think. Accommodate a bigger battery as well, so improved battery life. So there are a couple of advantages that that approach brings in. The last thing that I'm going to whine about is regarding the weather sealing. I have always wanted the X100 camera to be weather sealed. The X100V was announced and it was weather sealed. This was one of the biggest selling points or the marketing ploys that were used in promoting this camera, that it's weather sealed. When the V was announced, I was thrilled that it's a weather sealed camera. Finally, Fuji did it. But then they said, okay, this camera is going to be close to 90% weather sealed. The front lens moves in and out, so they could not make it completely weather sealed, so you have to buy an accessory. Come on, Fuji, you have to give that accessory, otherwise this camera is not weather sealed. It's similar to you go buy a boat knowingly that there is a hole, and then the seller tells you you have to buy something to plug the hole, otherwise you take it to fishing or you go out boating, you might sink and die. So it's kind of ridiculous. It's again €100 you have to purchase that accessory. Maybe Fuji throws it in the box in some future promotions. That would be great, but I really feel that in the next generation, maybe X100X, that's the generation 6, so maybe X100S is already out, so X100X kind of is cool for the 6th generation. And lastly, do not get me wrong, I really love my X100V. I really like taking photographs with this camera. It's always with me these days. I also believe that no camera is perfect. The reason why I made this video is kind of wishful thinking. I really want these features to be much better on the X100V so that I could love the camera even more. I already like it. It's just that one thing that's nagging behind my mind, that maybe Fuji could have done better. But the Fuji X100V as is just amazing. I would highly recommend anyone who's looking for a small compact camera. If you like what you see, hit that like button, and if you like the content that I'm making on this channel, hit that subscribe button. It really helps. That's about for it today, and until the next one, ciao ciao.